Okay, so I have recently acquired quite a large stack of newer things. I suddenly got the urge to try to like complete my reading collection for Wynonna Earp because I just realized they don't really have the trades in a way that makes sense, and then it's really hard to find these single issues. I know I could go online and buy them, but it is so satisfying when I'm like on a trip and I'm in a new comic book store and I do find one. So that's a mission that I'm like side questing on right now, but I'm actively reading all of the things I'm pulling. So I guess we can kind of go through that because I need to figure out how I'm going to start storing my single issues because my short box back there is actually filling up. So comic book vlog in which I explain to you so that I better understand how my Wynonna Earp collection is going. And then I kind of want to talk about Revival because I'm reading that. It's fun to be like into comics and then also get this show, whereas it was kind of like the opposite for me with Wynonna. I found the show and then was like, I should read these things. There's a Reddit thread that has actually been helping me out in the like Wynonna Earp corner of the internet, and that has it all very, very nicely laid out. So we've got Strange Inheritance with all of the pre-TV show comics, which does include the Yeti Wars within this. And then you hit Legends, collecting 8 issues. This is where some of the actors have stepped in to write stuff. So you've got Scrofano and Roseanne writing in here, and then you've got Mel's beautiful face on the cover. And then we get to season 0, which is them revisiting stuff before the show, but in the fashion of the show. So it doesn't look like the old characters from the original books, but it's not necessarily in line plot-wise with the show. And then you hit Bad Day at Blackrock, which is also, just as I said, a totally its own thing, but still hits before the show. My understanding is that actually I'm not missing that homecoming gap because All In covers that. So I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, please, 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 but I have all and then some of everything Wynonna Earp that has come out. So I could actually read every single thing that Bo wrote from the first iteration of Wynonna to the most recent thing that we've got today, which is neat and cool. And I will keep hunting for the more modern, like, show timeline versions of the single issues. So there we are, which I guess that segues nicely into Revival. I am currently reading Jurassic Park, but when I'm not reading Jurassic Park, I've been catching up on Revival, and I've read 1 and I have a couple issues left in 2 to read. But on my trip into the comic book shop this week, which is New Comic Book Day was July 2nd, I had to grab the 3rd trade. Like, I would prefer to read everything and then watch it and be able to compare and see, like, have thoughts. And so I'm running into, like, am I gonna get spoiled if I watch the show? I don't think it's building up in the same way that the books build up. I think it's taking the characters and it's making it its own thing, much like Wynonna. I just want to be, like, a decent chunk in and then start watching the show. But I'm having a lot of fun with this. I think it's a very unique, different take on, like, what we're used to when we think about, like, zombies, I guess. Issues make me nervous, they're fragile, they're delicate, and I like how much story you can get out of a trade. And then obviously, like, it's a good value. A corner of my shelf being trades is, like, very heavy. I just kind of, like, have them stacked up in piles around my house because I don't have, like, a great way to display them. Right here, I think you can see in this corner. Like, here's what I'm talking about. I've got just this big stack of trades here. Deadly Class, Paper Girls, a big chunk of Saga for being a person who's actually not touched Saga yet. And then the way I started reading Ultimate Spider-Man here. Something that I'm just now realizing I totally have access to is Hoopla through my library. And I think maybe I'll start reading that, like, basic Ultimate series through there. And I think that might be really good going into Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion. So now I've, like, basically built another massive stack of trades. As far as, like, other stuff that I've recently picked up and haven't read, because I'm trying to read too many things simultaneously, I have yet to read Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion because I don't think it ties into the current ongoing Ultimate Spider-Man series that's happening right now. So I'm, like, maybe gonna sit on that. And then speaking of which, I do have issue 18 to read of this, Ultimate Spider-Man. This is an absolutely cool cover with the 2 suits on it. I'm truly in love with this series. I'm having such a blast reading it. I just need to sit down and like sort my shit out. Another thing that I'm so excited to read but have not cracked open is, after a very long wait, issue 5 of The Seasons by Rick Remender. I heard from, I believe it was Cody Collects Comics' most recent video that, or no, maybe it was Nate over at Speed Sultan. One of the two said that this one really starts to kind of like get into the creepiness and like the horror that we're maybe looking for, knowing how this series started and where we're supposed to be ending here. Adding that to that stack of singles. And then I seem to be in the minority here on the internet, but I'm still pulling the like current run of Amazing Spider-Man from that new #1. And something bad happened to me a couple new comic book days ago, as I went and I picked it up and I came home and I read it, and it was issue 6, and I was like, maybe it's just been a minute and I'm missing something. I'm sure it'll all click. And then I kind of like finished and I was still a little bit confused. I was like, I feel like we're missing some stuff. And then I went to put it away in my short box with my other singles, and I realized, oh, I never picked up issue 5. Somehow my local shop, I think, just forgot to put it in my bin. Luckily, they still had some 5s. In the current time, because of it was the 2nd just now, where issue 7 came out. So I need to grab 6. I think I need to read 5, 6, 7, and then I'll have like self-corrected whatever happened here. I've also started using the Comic Geeks app. At first I was really enjoying just going to the store on Wednesdays or Thursdays and seeing what happened to be in my box for that week, and not really feeling obligated to stay on top of knowing what should be in my box. But that Spider-Man situation killed that. Another thing that I'm kind of going through right now is I picked up issue 1 of Blood and Thunder, and I loved it, which tracks because I'm obsessed with Wynonna Earp, which is another story about a badass hunting girl with a sentient gun. So like, of course, Blood and Thunder is like striking a chord with me. And my shop has not even gotten issue 2 yet. So they say it's like publishing problems, and I don't know enough about this world to understand that. So I'm just trusting that maybe the one day that will appear in my box, because they say it will go in once they get it. It would be great if maybe I was lucky enough this upcoming week of July 9th to score Blood and Thunder #2. Yeah, so I think maybe we should just do some reading. It is a new day. I finished Revival Volume 2 last night, and I read issue 5 of The Seasons by Rick Remender, and I feel like that story is finally just like taking off, and I'm so excited because it's just so different than the other stuff I'm reading, being Spider-Man's, Bug Wars, Exquisite Corpses, and then obviously like it's very different than Revival too. It's just so pastel-y, and the light versus the dark, and the shapes are really dynamic. I just think it is so special and unique, and it really stands out across all of the things I'm reading right now. So today, a new day. Pretend I didn't read 6. Hit 5 right now, go to 6 as if I've never seen it in my life, and then hit 7. Look at this cover. I would be really bummed if I didn't have this cover, for starters. But what's cool is you go from like a Hobgoblin issue to a Cat issue, and then that enters into Hellgate, which, 3 things. What's cool about this one, it's the last like Pepe Larraz one for a minute. And then you go to this one, issue 6, and it has a really cool timing and timeline, like blocking back and forth between what's current, different times within the current day, and also just like past encounters that Peter's had. And then with this one, I would say There are some really, really cool like extended panels, but also the sense of humor in this issue is like top notch. So I am very, 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 very glad that I caught the mistake, went back, found issue 5, and then reread 5, 6, and then did 7, and we're on track. Thank you for getting caught up with me. We've got a couple of Ultimate Spider-Man situations back there to get caught up on, but luckily this week, July 9th, is a really chill new comic book day for me, so just more Ultimate Spider-Man coming out. And actually I do want to hopefully grab the swimsuit edition, because I think that's really funny and cool and interesting, and I wouldn't have known about it if I hadn't gone back and picked up issue number 5 of the Amazing Spider-Man, because it was an ad in that one. So that's kind of exciting because there's not really anything else coming out. So maybe Blood and Thunder, and then the next time I see you, hopefully I will be rocking and rolling on Hoopla. I will have watched some Revival, which is crazy, and then we will be sorted out in the terms of Ultimate Spider-Man. So thank you. I hope that whatever you have going on with your comic books is just as organized and exciting.